is building a small project. It will be employee and department. Then we will be saving data, updating data, adding new employees, adding departments, save them to the file, retrieve them again. We will use object serialization. We will use object serialization. This is not the best choice, but in other courses later, you will see other ways of handling data at the back end, at the server. There are many choices like databases, JSON files, so many things. NoSQL databases. You will take them in other courses. Let's see our first class here, employee. And we have ID, name, and salary. Does that make sense? Any question about this, ya shabab? Just simple. We try to focus on the database. Right. This is an employee. Let us just make ID, tab, name, the toString, and tab, salary. So that's it. I think this is fine. We will later talk about department. Let's just create one employee and make sure the employee is fine. I prepared the app test folder. I need to import the class from the model dot employee. Let me just quickly create employee E1 equals new employee. ID is 100. Name is Ali. And the salary is this. Let us output the employee E1 and make sure our code is fine. Good. I just need maybe to update the name and salary. We cannot use equals. Here's fine. Salary. Just do colon instead of save everything here. Run the test again. Okay, good. ماشي الحال يا شباب. Any questions so far? طيب. هلا we'll create another class called department. The department has a name and code and a list of employees. You agree with this? Do you agree with this يا شباب؟ يعني I'll make a class called department. I will work as public or private string. I'll call it code instead of ID. Then private string name. And now I need an array list of employees. You all know what I mean, صح? Private array list of shake private array list of what? Of employee. Let's call it depth employees. Good. Yeah, يعني composition. Okay. Now the constructor, let me import employee also from model. So now I have list and employee. Let's make few constructors. Source, generate constructor using fields. Please mute your mic, shabab. Too much noise. We are recording. Okay. I just created the department here without the array list. I can create another department with an array list. Tamam. And it's better to use the constructor chaining, is the code and name. And Eclipse helps you a lot. Any questions so far? Let me set and get for everything. Source, all of them. Like, uh, maybe from many examples, when we create an array list of something, sometimes the array list is not ready. Is not ready. Yani, you don't have the employees. You need to add them one by one. So in the first constructor, what do I need to do, yeah, Shabab? I need to initialize the array list. Otherwise, you will get null pointer exception. So I'll say here depth employees new array list of employee, because the first constructor assumes that you have no employees. If you have no employees and you will be adding them one by one, the list must be initialized first. Otherwise, you get null pointer exception. ماشي الحال. طيب. What do we need to add to this one? We need to add something like add employee. صح ولا لا؟ يعني we usually add one by one. When you have a array list, you rarely set them all here. يعني you don't combine them all in one list. Usually you add and remove. So I'll make a method public void add employee تمام to the department. Okay. And employee and how to do it now? If you are adding one depth employees, which is an array list dot add employee. Any question يا شباب؟ تمام؟ Good. طيب يلا let us do remove employee public void remove employee remove employee. Usually when you remove, you send something like ID only. You don't send the object itself. So now how are we going to do this? We need to use classic for loop for integer I is equal to 0. I is less than depth employees dot size. Okay. I plus plus. يلا. If what? Depth employees dot get I dot what? Get ID. This is an integer. We can use equal ID. If what you do then, Ibrahim Tahan, for array lists, we use size, not length. Okay, what we do in this case, ya shabab? In this case, we will remove this. Employees dot remove I. Does that make sense? And now the employee is removed. We will later update this to check if the employee exists or no. Tamam? We will update this before we delete the employee. We will check if the employee exists or no. Does that make sense? Right. Let us now. So we have a department, ya shabab, has a code and name. You either provide a complete array list. Even if you provide complete array list or you initialize an empty one, you can still add and remove employees. Does that make sense? Good. Let us make a toString now. Source. I think the toString needs to be okay. Let's make it هيك من عندنا. Public string toString. تمام. Let's make it what? Public returns. Okay. So I can say string details, for example, equals string dot format percent S, capital S, for example. This is for the code, huh? I need it to be in capital. Percent S, then percent S عادية, and then okay, let me put the number of employees in percent D in quotes and type employees. You lost employees. So now here, first one will be this dot get this dot get code, then this dot get name. Then I need the number of employees. What do you suggest, ya shabab? What do you suggest? Why don't you provide a method to make your life easier? Count. So I can say public integer get employee count, and it will return the size of the array. This but employees dot size. So now, instead of using in the code, now I need the third one to be what? Get name, and last one will be this dot get employee count. So in the first line, you will have the code of the department, then the name, then number of employees between two things. Let us test it. This is the best way how to return a string, sorry. I need to return details. Of course, later we'll add the employees to it. Let us test it. This. Whenever you do something like this, go ahead and test it incrementally. And by the way, I created the department in the wrong package, so you can just drag it to the model package. See? And hopefully things will be okay, updated now. So I'll go to the test now. I need to import the department employee, or you can do what? We will check later if there is no need. So here for the employee now, for the model, I'll import everything from the model. We will check this later, yeah, if it's a unique ID or not. ماشي الحال؟ تمام. So let me make two employees now. E2 and employee 200. Isa. Well, and his salary is 9,000. تمام. Now I'll create a new department. Department T1 equals new department. Okay. We have code. Let's call it MTK marketing. The name is marketing, and that's it. So now the array list of employees is empty. This is in the beginning. Now I'll add d1 dot add employee. I'll add Yusuf. d1 dot add employee. I'll add Isa. Let me output the department now. D1. Okay. Marketing, MKT, marketing, two employees. Of course, you can change this one here, يعني, if you want to add department, okay, and you put like dash between them. Maybe the output is going to look better. Let us see. Department marketing, MKT marketing to employees. Any question, يا شباب, on this one? Is it clear? Let's see. Remove employee. D1 dot remove employee 200. Okay. Let us output the department after we remove Isa. Okay. Perfect. Isa شو؟ تمام. Isa was removed. طبعا if you have something like 300 who is not there, you can later make a method. يعني Isa, no one was removed here, صح? But you don't want this. Okay. You can change it. So now we check that remove is working. Remove works if the employee exists. خلاص ما تشغلناش هلا يعني الموضوع تبعنا. Good. طيب. So I'll create a third employee. E3 for example. I'll make him 300 and Bukhari. الله بخاري. بخاري بحب الكشخة والوجاهة، بنعطيه راتب كبير 35,000. ماشي الحال. Okay. And he E3 run. Let's update the output of the department. I think we need to output the employees, صح? I can say for employee, صح? E in the depth employees, what to do? Details plus equal E plus new line بدنا منهم. ما حطيت new line أنا. If you want, I prefer you make tab, for example. You can make tab. Okay, tab plus employee. You know, employee, you get it from the employee class. Let's go and test the department now. ماشي الحال. هلا في عندنا هون الديبارتمنت employees كان المفروض بعدها يكون في new line, right? I don't need try catch in this example. صحان. I don't need try catch in this department, in this. So here I can make a new line after employees. تمام? A new line or percent %n. صح؟ Okay. ابراهيم so far كل اسئلتك اوف سايد كانوا تمام بدون فار حتى كانوا اوف سايد بس كويس يعني keep asking. طيب اوكي هلا is it clear nice output صح. طيب شو رايكم نعمل total salary of all employees in the department. انا ما كنتش مخطط لهيك اشياء بس يلا اجت. public double get salary total. So how are we going to calculate the total of all salaries? Double total sal equals 0 and use this for loop. Okay. And total sal plus equal e dot get salary to return total sal. Good. خالد سليمان تمام. بخاري double السالري مش طيب can we add this to the total salaries. تمام. Let me add it here after the employees. I can put here like tab total salaries salaries total أو salaries حتى salaries total and I'll put percent dot 2f. You know what's percent dot 2f صح? And here now I'll go after this one. I'll say this dot get وينها total salary total. Hamad Lansi, yeah, okay. Bukhari. Doctor, shouldn't we use other for loop? When? Yeah, if you are not changing, you just use the enhanced for loop. I'm not changing. I'm only calculating the salaries. But if you remove, like here, if you are removing, you need to use the classic. تمام? I think I answered your question. يلا let's go to test it. صار عنا big business هلا. Good. Department, marketing, 3 employees, salaries total this much, and that's it. I think it's clear now. It's enough here on the employees. يعني maybe I need to take a space between the employees and here I can just put spaces like this. Let me run this. And I think things are nice يعني. Marketing, 3 employees, salaries total, and this one. And these are our employees. طيب. That's not why you are here today, صح؟ بس هلا احنا tested our simple example. Now, بس the example is nice يعني clean code ماشيين كويس يعني. Okay. Let's now do some kind now. You need to save this data when you come back. You need to save data when you come back. We will use objects. Type. What data you have, yeah, Fahan? We have employees and departments. So do you agree if I say in the beginning, we need to make one file for departments and one file for employees? Do you agree? Because maybe I'm going to make other departments, right? See now, I'm making department 2 here now. And department 2 بس في بخاري هو لوحده ما بيحب يشتغل مع حدا تاني بخاري. Okay. مسؤول علاقات عامة. Okay. Only Bukhari in the second department. ماشي؟ يعني okay. So we need one file to save data of employees and okay. This is the first department, marketing. Let us change the name of the second department. External relation, EXT. Relations. تمام? Okay. Okay. This is Bukhari, one employees. Oh, this is the total salaries and total number of employees. You see, ya shabab, I think now, and we are at the end of the semester. The more work you put at the simple classes, collection of simple functions, you get a nice output at the end. صح ولا لا? A nice يعني data. طيب. Now we need to be able to store all our employees in a file. When we run the program again, you will not run the tester here يعني. We need to be able to add departments, remove departments, save departments, and we need to be able to save our data in files. ماشي الحال? So now the next step, once you now understand the example, the next step is to put our data in files and handle it. Let me be, yes, of course, because you must save data. And I said, Isa, data must be saved, of course. We are study programming. We don't care about the data, but if you really in a deployment and production environment, all data must be saved. And so any question about the example? Okay. So if you have no questions about the example now, I will stop recording so that I keep the first video for the example. Then the second part will be about handling data. ماشي الحال. Just give me 1 minute between them and we will start. I believe uh, you need to know that the part of managing data is not part of your model. Maybe the same model here you see, the same department and employees are available in a website or a mobile app or a desktop app. Uh, Handling data should be separated from the model itself. In our example, we provide a separate classes and separate package even to handle the data. And remember, maybe you have 100 classes in your code. Here, I'm showing you only two. What if you decide to suddenly change the way you store data, for example, instead of Microsoft database, you will use, for example, Oracle database. In that case, you don't have to touch your code. You just go and touch and change the data layer. Did you understand this, يا شباب يعني? يعني the same code will be stored in different databases. So don't put anything related to the code recording or storage in the classes themselves. Make a separate layer. Make a separate layer. And here I created a separate package. I called it data. See how, ya shabab? Now I need you to focus that we will do this from outside our classes. In my package, I'll call it data manager. I have a class now. I called it data manager. Yalla, please pay attention. Please do not code, ya Ali. Yusuf. خليك معنا. هلا here we will be handling our data in two files. What is our data? We have a department's data in a separate file, and we have employees' data in a separate file. And as it was announced, it will be about what? Object serialization. ماشي الحال. So first of all, handling, Khalid Suleiman, handling the data isolated from the logic of your code. تمام? Because maybe later you just change this class in your code. You don't have to change anything other than that. ماشي الحال? We will study this more in software engineering later and web courses. Now يلا خلينا نكون هيك simple. What are the things that needed here? And I'll be trying to go step by step. Do we need two files يا شباب? One for data and one for departments and the other for employees. تمام. طيب. I prefer يعني to when you are in the professional practice private string final also. What do you think I'm gonna do now? I'll make a one employees file equals what? Employees.dat. Why I'm doing this? So anytime later in your code, anytime later, final should be before. Anytime later in your code, you need to use the employees file. You don't have to remember it. You just use this constant. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I can make it data or data. It doesn't make difference, ya shabab, because this is a binary file. Since I'm doing this, now you know what's the next. I'll make debts file, and here I'll make it emplo file. ما عشان الاسم بس ما يغلبني. اوكي؟ ولا خليها عادي. employees and departments. This is a constant. تمام؟ departments file. And here we'll call it what? Departments. Correct my spelling يا شباب if it's wrong. Good? طيب. يلا هلا ايش بدنا كمان؟ What do we need? يا شباب, you need to understand important concept that when you handle data when you change data, remove data, add data, you are not going to do this from the file. You are not doing these things from the file. يعني your file here on the disk has so many data. This is another file with other data. You will not be changing things inside the file. No. Let us say you are adding new employees. You don't add the employee directly here on the file here. In real programs, in this example, حتى, what happens? Please pay attention to these steps. Very important. I'll use full screen. You will first, step number 1, you will open the file. Open the file. This is, let us say, employees. You will put all, you will read it, and step number 2, you will create an array list of employees. Then, while your program is running, maybe your program is running for 10 days, 15 days, 1 hour, you are adding and removing data or updating data to the array list of employees, not to the file. Once you are done, يعني here, step number 3, 4, 5, you will be add, remove, update. We call them CRUD. CRUD, create, update, delete. CRUD in data, يعني bases, create, update, delete. You will be doing this from the array list. Finally, when you are finished, finally, you save an array list back to the file. يعني override the old things. So if you added new employees to the array list, they will be saved in the file. If you removed the employees from the array list, they are removed from the file because you will be overwriting the file with the array list. This is one way of doing it. Don't worry about handling file details, removing one line, one word. It's not done like that. Same thing for departments. Step number 1, I'll add, read it, open it. Open. Then step number 2 is what, ya shabab? I'll create an array list of what? Of departments. Then in your program, maybe you are running your program 24 hours a day. You will add departments, remove employee from a department. You will be handling this from the array list. Once you are done, you can save the current array list, which is in memory, override the old one in the file. Does that make sense? Is the concept clear now? So يعني, when you start, you will open the files, create an array list of the files. While you are running your program, add, update employee, sell something, return something, update them, so many things. You will work with the array list. I have taught you how to add and remove, update things from the array list. صح? When you finish, you copy it back to the file. This is the best way. تمام? So now, if I tell you that we need 2 array lists, what are they? Now we need, for example, private, okay, array list of employee, okay, and I'll call it employees. or خلينا نسميها امس list. امس list عشان تكون واضح. طيب, what's the next one? I need another array list of what? Of departments, right? طبعا what I need to do here يا شباب, import, يعني usually you need the model, sorry, model dot, I'll put star all of them. Okay, next I need what? A new array list, private array list of department. I'll call it depth list. Good. Model is the classes in the model package. The model, yeah, Abdullah, usually is the classes, the data. Our data is employees and hi. Data manager is not our objects. Data manager handles the data. Okay? طيب. هلا, what happens when you start your app? When you start an application, first time, what happens? And I'll tell you what happened. Isn't it a good idea to go once you start the data manager? Isn't it a good idea to go open the files? No, who maybe see there are two examples, two possibilities. Maybe you have already some data before, and maybe it's the first time you run the application. Does that make sense? If you already have some data before, that's fine. We will get it. If it's for the first time, we will create array list, but our array list will be empty. صح ولا لا? So now let me show you the constructor وانتوا احكوا لي يعني you like it or not. Generate constructor using fields deselect all. ولا شيء. فاضي. Our constructor is empty. You know what I'm gonna do in my constructor يا شباب? When you start it, I know I am a data manager for employees and department. When you say data manager, new data manager, على طول راح اروح افتح الفايلز وعبي and fill the data of each file in an array list. What do you think? What do you think? This is the first time. Maybe at the end when you exit the program, I save all the data back to the hang. So let me show you what I want to do. I will do read employees method. And you are wondering what's read employees. I'll show you. Read department. You know read يعني open a file, huh? Read departments. Don't trust me with spelling يا شباب, huh? طيب. What is read employees and read departments? Clearly, we need to open a file and fill the array list, employee list from the file employees data. Maybe it's not there, no problem. So let us make one of them. Public. No need to be public, by the way, because this is internal work. I can make it private, huh? Private void read employees. يعني no outsider is going to call this method. The data manager knows the details. You don't worry about the details as a user of the data manager. Private void read employees. Yalla, what do you think I need to read? Huh? First, I have an array list. Array list. I show you. Array list of what? Employee. Okay. And this is what is going to be what? Emps equals new array list of employee. This is, you will understand why I need this in 1 minute. Okay? You always need to open the file and get all the data from it. Yeah. Let us finish one example and you will see it. Yeah. Those who did like, wait until I finish. عزت علي, I saw that يعني like. Huh? Wait, maybe. خلي عثمان يشرح لك إياها بطريقته العاد. خلاص. Okay? طيب يا شباب. So now what do you think I need to do now? I need to open. I think last week when I taught you, you can also save data as one array list, صح? And I'll assume the data will be saved as an array list in the employee data, and it will be saved also as an what? As an what? As an array list of departments in the department data. يلا خلينا نشوف شو عندنا. I will create object input stream in. تمام. So now I need to مكتوب غلط اسمها stream. Okay. I need to import it. Now try. Okay. What do I need to make now? In equals new object input stream from which file يا شباب؟ New file input stream. Did we do it this way last time? File input stream. Okay. And let me important في غلط file input stream. From which file? What's the file name? Employees file. Does that make sense now? Of course, there are so many. Import file input stream. Of course, now you need to do what? A fastest way to do try catch, make it without try catch, and then you can say surround it with try catch. So file not found exception, IO exception. So now, if you are reading it from file input stream, خلاص. What's the next step? Very simple step. I will say emps equals what? Emps, which is an array list of employees. What? I need to cast it, صح? يعني n dot read sorry. End dot read object. You remember this? There will be only one object, array list of employees, not employees. Of course, now emps needs to be cast here. What should I do now? How to cast it? I can make it what? يلا قولوا لي. How to cast it? Array list of what? Employee. I gave you this example last week for this demo, huh? Okay. Okay. And handle exception. So now what type of exception I need? Maybe class not found exception. How to provide more than one exception? You remember, without making the code complicated, you can make a bar and here make E. Okay? Does that make sense, ya shabab? We did this last time, صح? So now here, no need, for example, the first one, no need for a name here. The last one, you give it a name. So we did this in the class. Right. Now, there might be some unchecked cast exception, but this is unchecked. Unchecked exception, you know, you have, it's optional, but you can catch class cast exception. ايش هو اللي هاي؟ Unchecked cast from object. Okay. No need to do anything at this moment. So now let me know what's going to happen. Let me know what's going to happen. I am reading a file. From this file, I am reading data as a one array list of employees. Why I'm doing this? Because I will save them as one array list. If you save them as one employee at a time, you need to do a while loop. While object read is not equal to null. Does that make sense? If you save them as one employee at a time, you need to read them one by one and cast them one by one. But I will save them as one array list. Tamam? We can do the examples. I gave you examples before in the class how to do it one employee at a time. So now, what happens now? Once you read this, you are filling an array list of employees. طيب, wait. هلا read employees. Why I want to read employees? To fill which list? To fill which list? To fill my emps list. صح? Good. طيب, do I need to create a new list or what? I can here say, without the need of this one, emps list equals this. يعني my employee list, the one is equal this. If no file, maybe there is no file يا شباب. If no file, I have an empty array list. صح? If no file, I'll be having an empty array list. If there is a file, it will be filled and my array list will be filled. Does that make sense? I think, Yaman, I answered your question. If you do it one by one, you save it one by one. طيب, now what's the next step, يا شباب? I need, by the way, here حتى, see, sys out. I can tell you now what? Imps list dot size plus employees read from the file. Does that make sense, يا شباب? يعني when you finish, okay. طيب, now I'll copy paste this code. You know why I'm going to copy paste this code? Now I need to read what? What is the method name? Read what? Read departments. What I'm going to do now? I'm going to make department list equals new of department. And here, what is the file name? I forgot the constant name. Department file. Here, صح? New array list of department. Departments. ايش بيقول هون؟ array list of mismatch array list department. وين انا حاطط employee؟
انت كاتب امبس ليست دكتور، امبلويز ليست.
شو لازم اعمل؟
42 لاين 42. ايوه
حاضر. And here I'll do departments read from the list. Is it a good يا شباب هيك؟ هيك if you have already data, when you see I put these calls in the constructor. So if you already have data, you call them from the list and fill it. طيب? So what I did so far, I only created 2 empty lists. يعني in the first time there will be empty, but if you have data, no, it will not be empty. طيب, let me add some extra code here. Let me make source generate setter and getter. Of course, department file constant, okay? And department list, I'll say get list, set list, employee list, and okay. مش فاهم close file doc. Yes, I need to close the file, right? In dot close, right? And here I need to do also in dot close. ماشي الحال so far. Set and get array list and this one. Good. Close the file needed when both cases. طيب, ركزوا معي هلا. Okay. طيب. So when I start my program, it will go and open the files. If they exist, it fill it with the current employees. Can I add employees to it or add departments? Yes, I can. So let me make one method public void add employee. This is add employee to the employee list يا شباب. تمام. Add employee E. So now what should I do? This dot get imps list dot add E. Good. Add department. Add department to the, okay. So here you will have department B and this dot get department list dot add D. Does that make sense? So we are adding department. طيب. هلا you have added 7 employees and 3 departments. What should you do at the end يا شباب? Let us say you are done, finished. You need to save the changes to the file, صح? save them to the file. Maybe خلاص today خلاص you are going home and okay. So what do we need now to create? We need to create two methods. صح? Okay, very simple how to save. We need to create two methods. What are they? يلا قولوا لي. What are they? Save employees. First one was read. Save employees and save what? Departments. This is easier even. طيب والله easier. Public void save employees. Really? Yes. طيب how to save employees? What do you need يا شباب? You need object output stream. صح ولا لا? Object output stream. I'll call it out. Then I need to object output stream. ايش بده هون هو؟ في شيء غلط عندي؟ output.
اتوقع لازم import يا دكتور.
Yeah, I know that. بس هو ما طلب مني. فكرت imported already. طيب. Now we need to write the array list to the file. صح ولا لا? Right? We need to write the array list. So I'll say here what? Out is equal to new object. Output stream new file output stream. What is the file name for employees? Employees file. This is file output صح؟ ماشي؟ تمام. I will do one thing here. Very simple step. Out dot write. I'll keep the write what? Object. One object. What is the object I'm gonna write? All of them are available in one list. What is the name of the list? I can say this dot get depth list. So now I will file output stream, right? Now
دكتور
I
مش لازم تكون امس ليست،
ما فهمت عليك.
مش لازم تكون امس ليست لانه انت
امس
امبلوي.
صح. Get emps list. طيب of course now يا شباب you know I need to do 1 million try catch صح؟ خلينا نشوفهم. Object هو عامل لي اياهم هيك. لا انا راح اخذهم كلهم مره واحده هون. اوكي وحتى راح اعمل out dot close. ماشي الحال. وهير I can say now sys out. Okay. Employees saved successfully. ما بعرفش اكتب successfully بس I know how to know the number of employees. I can say this dot get emps list dot size dot size plus. عارفين شو راح يطلع معنا. 7 employees, 5 employees, right? This is output only for you. طيب خلاص. Now what is the next one? What is the next one? Yeah, garbage collection is not part of our course. Garbage collection is done automatically in... I'm not creating anything new here. Yeah. What is the next one? Save what? Departments. مكتوبة صح? Okay. Now I think you know what I'm gonna do صح? Right يا شباب? And here save departments file, and which list I'm gonna save here? Get depth list file not found exception, and here what I'm gonna do? Okay, get depth list departments saved successfully. When you start any project, yeah, if you go to the bank now and you start, they will read all the data from the databases. You keep adding and save the data when you finish. هلا يا شباب انا عندي what save departments و save employees. تمام. By the way, they don't have to be public. انت كيوزر you don't have to worry about them. انت you will be using a test app like this one. انت كيوزر you don't have to worry about them. And I'll create another utility method. I'll call it save all. Public, this is public. Void save all data. Save all data. It will call two methods. What are they يا شباب؟ save employees. وين راحت save all data? Here. Save employees and what? Save departments. So later, if you want to save all data, you call this method. And the method will call the save employees and save departments. Does that make sense يا شباب? Is it clear so far what we are doing? ماشي الحال. Okay. طبعا let me go to the read now. Where is the read here? Read employees. Maybe you don't have the file صح? If you don't have the file, no problem. File not found exception e.get message. E.get message. It will not, should not, يعني, we are catching the exception because it will say, first time there is no file. And this is read departments. I'll do the same thing. Stack trace هاي بتعطينا output 2 هاي. طب خليكم معي يا شباب. You know what I'm gonna do now? Your application will start. For example, we will make application. Then the application will call the data manager. The application ما له علاقة في how the data manager is doing things. The data manager opens employees and high. If you want to add an employee, you call the add employee. If you want to add a department, you call add the department. If you want to save all data, you call save all data. وبس خلاص. You get my point يا شباب. يعني أنا هلا I'm gonna make a new test. راح أروح للتest back here. I'm gonna make import. Where is our file? Data manager. شوفوا هلا إذا بعمل أنا if I do data manager dm equals new data manager بس my data manager should read by the way and شو خلينا نشوف. شوفوا ما أعطاني ولا مشي. شوفوا شو قال لي. على فكرة فتحهم. قال لي ايش؟ 0 employees read و0 employees والحياة كويسة وماشي. تمام؟ good. طيب شوفوا شو راح اعمل انا هلا. I created 3 employees and 2 departments صح؟ no output here. no output. I created 3 employees and 2 departments. But still, these are in memory. These are objects, right? I want to save them. What should I do? يلا. dm dot add employee e1. dm dot add department. لحظة خلينا نضيف الامبلوي. add employee d2 و d3. هلا هو it will be added to the array list صح ولا لا؟ not to the file so far, right? طيب و dm dot add department d1 و dm dot add department ايش عنا هون؟ dm sorry add department d2. you did add your data صح؟ و dm dot save all data. So now the data is saved to the file. The DM, when you call these methods, the data manager will be adding employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 to the list. صح ولا لا يا شباب? When you call add department, department 1 and department 2 will be added to the list. When you call save data, they will be saved back to the files. طيب. Next time, when you start the data manager, what's going to happen? First thing, what's going to happen when you start the data manager? It will go and try to find what? So now I'll just run it once. I will run this once. شوفوا في عنا ايرور. خلينا نشوف الايرور. نسينا شغله مهمه عنيفه. ايش هي؟ واضحه الايرور. not serializable. What did we say now? We cannot save them to a file. Why?
It needs to implement.
Implements what? Who?
Serialize.
A class. Which one to
Class
implement?
department, because you're using it too.
And department and what? Implements what? Departments and what? Implements. Departments.
Is it also app test?
No. The data. What data I'm saving in the files?
And employees. The
employees and
serializable and employees.
Yeah. Implements serializable. Okay. And also here in the employee I need to implement serializable. ماشي الحال. خلينا نروح نعمل run. إن شاء الله تكون هي الوحيدة. Okay. 3 employees saved successfully. بس في عنا 0 departments read from file. خلينا نشوف شو الايرور.
You only need you also need to make the department implement serializable.
I did both. employees and department. خلينا نشوف شو الايرور عنا. احنا اول شيء by the way خلينا نعمل refresh للداتا. refresh to see what do we have. وين refresh؟ ما عمل شيء يبقى.
اعتقد السورس يا دكتور.
اوكي يا refresh للبروجكت كله. في عنا شيء بالداتا هون. departments that شفتوا؟ employees that. هلا انا راح اشطبهم. I'm gonna delete them and let's see what we have now. Why we are getting. I'm trying to only save data now. ما عندي مشكلة. Perfect. What happened? In the beginning, my program started. App test started, صح? Then it created data manager in the beginning, and the data manager said what? 0 employees found and 0 departments found. Then we started to add employees and add what? Now, how can I know my work is right? I need to read it, صح? طب I'll make another class يا شباب. A new class test read. That's heck, test read. I don't want to change test read. Okay? In my test read, I will just do what? Well, one very simple thing. Data manager. تمام? DM equals new data manager. Good. I need to import it from model. لا هو في data manager تبع الجافا. هو نفسه. صح مزبوط. طيب هلا انا I can say sys out يا شباب dm dot get depths list. ده شوف فيه هلا هذا برنامج ثاني. dm dot get get employee list. تمام. I'm not changing. This one is very peaceful. هذا this class. It will try to only perfect. It opened what? 3 employees read, 3 departments found. I printed them. I have the employees, output the employees, and this one. طيب. Good. هلا أنا I'm gonna go back to the app test. I'm gonna make employee 6, 4, 5, 6. بدون departments. Okay. بس هيك new employees. I'm gonna add them to the data manager. أنا عملت كمان employees 3. Add them to the data manager. I told the data manager what? Please save all data. يعني هدول غير عن اللي كانوا قبل شوي. اوكي. خلينا نعملهم 400 500 500 and 600. اوكي. هلا هون طحان boss. اوكي. وعندي خالد سليمان. اوكي. the big boss. and مين كمان عندي؟ وين الاسماء هاي؟ اوكي تمام. اوكي هون احمد عظامة. I'm adding 3. When it started, how many files, how many employees were available? 3 and 2 departments. When I called save all, what happened? How many employees saved now? 6 and still 2 departments يعني. طيب I'll go to the test read هلا. What do you think I'm gonna get now? Test read will only read the data, صح ولا لا؟ 6 employees found, 2 departments read, and all these things. Does that make sense يا شباب? Things are getting clear here.
دكتور why did you
يعني you are asking the department, the data manager, to add and remove and save data from your app. يعني isolate all this code from the model, from the classes. Go ahead, ask me. I think زياد اللي بيسأل.
لا احمد.
يلا go ahead.
دكتور هو حضرتك ليه غيرت الاسامي بتاعت الفاريبلز كده؟ كنت ممكن تعمل ران تاني ويحط لك نفس
يا بس انا عشان يا احمد انا فاهم انك فاهم بس يعني I know that.
لا لا
variable
في
name has
كود
nothing
ما
to
خدتش
yeah.
بالي.
variable name has nothing to do with the contents. يعني اصلا هدول اصلا كانوا راحوا من الميموري يعني. هو بيقول ليش احنا ضفنا وهيك شيء. هلا راح اضيف نيو variables. طيب 700 و800 و900 راح يصير عندنا عدد employees. هاي احمد عبده، احمد اللي معي.
ايه يا دكتور معاك.
وين راح العنسي؟ نسيت اسمه الاول. هاي زياد علي.
حمد
العنسي.
العنسي.
حمد. مين اللي ضفناه جديد يوم؟ الحوتي.
يب سعيد الحوتي.
اوكي. هلا انا I added new employees by the way here. Okay. And 3 new employees. طبعا new employees added and saved. If you don't save them the next time you start, go ahead and read 9 employees and 2 departments. Does that make sense يا شباب؟ ماشي الحال. Let us delete an employee. أنا بحكي delete employee not from the department, from the database. Did you get that يا شباب؟ Delete an employee from our data. You know how to add an employee. Get an employee. تمام؟ Good. انت usually your application I made it very simple. But a real application, now a real application will have a menu like add employee, show all employees, calculate employees, get whatever. You get my point. Remove employees, get employees in one department, and all these things. هلا احنا the main thing we did, I showed you the data manager. That best thing when you read, when you start, read all data. When you stop, save all data. حتى by the way, I told you save all data. Okay. If you want to save, you know when you work with Microsoft Word يا شباب, sometimes they tell you auto saving. صح ولا لا? You know they tell you auto saving, what they do when they tell you auto saving? لا حتى على الجهاز مش على الكلاود بس. Whenever you make change, they save it every 5 seconds maybe. Okay? Do you want to do this automatically? Whenever you add a new employee, you save it? That's fine. Nothing new here. Where is add employee? Where is add employee? Here? What to call after it? This dot what? Save employees. So whenever you add an employee على طول saved للفايل. Good. Whenever you add department على طول what? Save للdepartments. For example يعني whenever you remove an employee, no save all موضوع تاني يعني yeah this is much better يعني save all. ممكن هاي تكون private. This maybe is a private method يعني not I'll make it private Others cannot use it, outsiders. The outsider, to make it simple on the outsider, save data, read data, get all employees وخلاص هاي هي. But they don't know the details of the plumbing here you are making, huh? These are private. Does that make sense now? Let us test read. ليش بعمل test read؟ عشان ما أعيد الداتا. What is override, Bukhari? I did not say anything override. I said the public method save all data. بس. يعني, but what are the public methods so far? Add employee, add department, save all data. تخيلوا قديش easy على اليوزر if you give your data manager to someone else. Overwrite, not override. Yeah, it will be always override here in this case, يا شباب. We are not appending or modifying. Don't get busy with these things. Are useless things, huh? Handling the text files, huh? Okay, you don't need it.
دكتور حتكون هي اوفر رايد لانه اصلا انت بالكونستراكتور بتقرا الداتا وبتسيفهم جوا الاري ليست صح؟
override خلاص متفقين، اما override مش متفقين. صح؟ فرق هائل بين. Yeah, this is fine. ما هم all the data is in the list, right? All the data is in the list. This is the fastest way and easiest way. And I told you also for production environments you'll use databases and other things, right? But now at least you know how to do this here, fine. طيب. So for the outsider, I only have two public methods, huh? شفتوهم انتوا. You saw only I have how many methods? حتى read data أنا راح أعملهم private. I did make them private, صح؟ يعني for you as a user, you can only use what? You can create a data manager, add employee, add department, get departments, save all data. صح ولا لا? Right? All the things that are private are internally. We can remove. يلا. How to remove? يلا. شو رأيك يا أبو جبل? Before we remove, can we make sure the employee has a unique ID? Because it must be a unique ID now. So before you add the employee, should we check if it's a unique ID or not? صح? So let us make a method, and this method can be private also. Private what? Boolean, right? Is unique. Unique. هيك بتنكتب شباب. imp ID. وراح ابعت له integer ID. The ID of the employee must be unique. Otherwise, what? What happened? Okay, what happens otherwise? They will tell you what is حاضر يا أبو جبل.
already exists.
Otherwise, you cannot hide. So you know what to do. We did this so many times. Boolean unique is equal to true. Yalla, now what? Can we go in a loop for what? Employee E in this dot get emps list. صح ولا لا? If what? E dot get ID equal. This is an integer. If it's equal ID معناته we have one. صح? What to do now? Unique is equal to false and break. And what? And what at the end? What to do here? Return unique. صح؟ طبعا اكيد كتبتها غلط 50 مرة انا بس يعني ها. اوكي لا صح والله. Good. So now ايش بيقول هون؟ The method is unique from the data manager is never used locally. طيب هلا بنستخدمها تزعلش. هلا what I'm gonna do يا شباب؟ Before you add an employee I'm gonna check where is that employee. if is unique ID e.get ID, the employee you are trying, if, what should I do now? Only if add him to the list, or else I believe sys out. طبعا of course يعني مش في التوتوريال هذا مفيش وقت، فينا نكتب illegal argument exception او شيء زي هيك. sys out catch it هناك في الكلاس illegal or duplicate employee ID request rejected. ها هي رحنا ليفل عالي في المسجز. good. if is unique do this, otherwise يلا نروح هلا نعمل نضيف واحد رابع، هذا هو اوكي اللي هو employee 4. خلينا نعمل comment بس يا شباب هون، بس comment. I'm trying to add employee 4. we already have this ID before، صح ولا لا؟ right احمد عبدو we already have انا ما عندي overloading والله. تمام run 9 employees. هاي تمام good. okay now when you try to add Bukhari or Ahmed Abdo, what did you get? duplicate employee ID request rejected. طبعا هلا صار عنا we know that we're gonna do this for also what? department code، صح ولا لا؟ right copy paste is perfect in these situations. is unique debt code. debt code is string يا شباب not ID and here string code. if you want this method to be used from outside you can call it for now department D. I think you see how now those small methods they help us to make big things. get debt list if D dot طبعا it's a string right, get code dot equals ignore case what code, right? if it's equal ignore case code I think خلصنا الكود صح. done here done. that's why if you remember يا Yaman at the beginning of the semester I sometimes said tutorials are more important than lectures because you cannot be a programmer without solving big problems like this if you consider it big. get ايش عنا get code في شيء غلط هون؟ anything wrong يا شباب؟ is unique department code. هلا what I'm gonna do when you say add department I'm gonna say now if is unique department code d dot get code, if this is true do this and this. let us format the code. if then what else else sys out duplicate department code request rejected. نشوف هون عندنا شيء غلط. اوكي انا
اكسترا براكت.
يا سيدي مش بيننا extra bracket. good. so now if you try to add another code you know what's going to happen. it will be rejected. is this good يا شباب? what we are doing is good. تمام. so طيب can we add one more public method? get employees by department. Doctor, you created code method. مش فاهم والله أنا. بخاري احكي حكي. إلا إذا driving وفي عندك a lot of noise.
دكتور يقصد ال department.get code اللي هي get method for the code الفاريبل.
اي لاين اي لاين اي لاين
اللي في الديبارتمنت كلاس.
ايوه
هير
ايه دوت جيت كود دي دوت جيت كود. هاي جيت كود ميثود نستعملها حق يعني
هيها
يجيب
في
وش
الديبارت.
بالضبط.
هيها
موجودة هي اوكي بس كنت اسأل عنها يعني.
هي.
يعطيك العافية.
انا في سؤال واضحه القصه صارت؟ اوكي تمام good excellent. يلا let's make a let's make a public method like get department employees. ماشي. Okay, you can organize your code later. I'll give you all of this. Public add department public public. What you gonna do? Return array list of what? Employee get department employees, and you're gonna send the code, the department code. صح ولا لا? Good. This method must return. So what we gonna return here? The array list of the one department. صح ولا لا? Right? So what we need to do? For what? For what? Department. Remember, we have an array list in the department. قبل ما بخاري يسأل. We have an array list of each department to show you the employees. تمام? Good. Okay. For department D in this dot get department list. Okay. If what? D dot get code. D dot get code equals ignore case. ايش عندنا code? Return what? Return what? D dot get department employees. Okay?
طب دكتور ما بنقدر نسوي array list جوا الميثود ونضل نضيف عليه بعدين نرجع لكل الاري list؟
Why to create a new array list? Why to create a new array list يعني it's خلينا let me just say one thing. It's already available in the department. If it was not, why if you want to do it one by one, if it's not available in the list, but if it's already for each department, you have them in the list, yes or no? You just say get
yes.
employees. You get my point. أنا فاهم سؤالك ليش ما نضيف هذا الحكي بتعمله لما ما يكون عندك في department أو ما هم أصلا not in a list, but if they are all in a list, you don't have to do that. خلينا نشوف شو بقولنا هو ليش معترض هون يا شباب؟ Because if it's inside array list, because if it's inside a if statement here, so it might not be true. تمام? It might not be true. يعني maybe you do not find that. In this case, what they do usually, you can say array list, but not a new array list. Emps, employee, sorry. To avoid employee, emps. Okay. فيك تقول له equals null here. تمام؟ employee فيها غلط. Capital L. Employee emps here. And here you say what? Emps equal what? And here you tell it what? Return. طبعا there is a better way. Emps. طبعا emps is not a new data. You are not copying the data. Here you, otherwise you will get that array list might not have been initialized, or you get, because if this is false, بس أنا خليني أقول لك شغلة واحدة. Sometimes maybe this is false. Maybe you don't have a department with this code. If you don't have a department with this code, you know, you need to check the department exists or. What I meant, okay, Abu Jabal. That's what I meant. تمام. وانا ما قراتش بس يلا اوكي تمام.
ما هو انا
شكراً.
قصدي دكتور انت عملت array list هيك في الميثود.
But this is not a new array list. This is not a
أيوة.
new.
بس عشان to save it عشان so that we can
It's
return
only a reference. Yeah, of course you do this if
yeah,
you
okay.
because if you are return it inside a loop or something, and that thing is not met. But now we would return null. على فكرة. We would return null, but this is not the best way to do it. The best way is to check if the department exists, and then you return the employee list. هلا خلينا نروح على test read data manager. يلا هلا هون we will say what get department employees. ايش كان في عندنا كود mkt صح right mkt right مظبوط. هلا whenever you create array managers you will go open all the files collect them all in an array list then you can do requests as much as you want صح ولا لا right now okay two departments read. هلا this one from which department forget about the first one. The first two lines are right. Now how many guys we have here? Only two departments. شو اسم كان الديبارتمنت تبع بخاري؟ EXT صح؟ مش كان EXT؟ ID عبد الله بخاري لوحده رجعنا. Good. Does that make sense? So far so good. Good. هلا now in your code يا شباب I showed you how to add. Let us do remove. We did not do remove صح؟ A remove could be public because you want to remove an employee or a department from the list. Public array list, public add employee, public add department, public get department employees. طبعا you have let us do public void remove employee. هلا كل ما نيجي نشتغل بنلاحظ انه integer ID. بنلاحظ انه we need to find that the employee exists. We need to find that the employee exists ولا لا. فينا نغير. We can change the name of the method here. Is unique department code لا exists. ليش ما نخليها exists؟ You see what I'm saying? You get my point? Instead of is unique خليها is exist. Is employee exists. تمام؟ ممكن عندنا ما في employee هيك يكون. اوكي؟ هلا unique او حتى هون بسميها exists. Boolean exists true return exists. تمام؟ is employee exist واعطيناها نفس الفكره. we here can say is department or does is the code exist. اوكي وبس فينا نعمل هيك شيء احنا. اوكي لا how to call the methods we need to change it from the method here. وين راحت is unique employee ID وايش الثاني is department code exist لانه exist هلا الاسم تبعها غيرناه تنفعنا في حالتين. شوفوا ايش هي الحالتين. Before I return the employees here I can check. I can say if is this dot is department code exist code I can do all of this. Otherwise I can throw an exception. Does that make sense يا شباب هلا؟ Does that make sense? I can throw an exception. يا مان احنا we change the name to make it general. تمام؟ The name just we change it to make it more unique. Okay? So هلا here you can do this انت. Okay? You can do this. ماشي الحال. هلا now exist you can do whatever you want. هلا حتى this one return ends, else return. Now you know how to handle this. Null. طبعا null is not a good idea, but يعني now you check if it exists or not. Some employee and departments are related in terms of array list. Don't worry about this relationship. We are just handling file output. So the employees and department are related in terms of array list. لا كل واحد في array list لوحده. فهمت السؤال غلط يمكن. احنا بدنا الemployees of each department. ما هو the department has an array list of employees. Yes, the department has an array list of employees. So now remove employee. If what I'm gonna do now? What I'm gonna do? If what? Is employee exist? ID. If exists, تمام? And we will not remove an employee that does not exist, صح? And I think we need a loop now, صح? Because we are removing, صح? For integer I dot 0, I is less than this dot get emps list dot size I plus plus. Yes. Let me just finish
Why
this.
yeah, go ahead.
If what? This dot get get لحالها صح of this dot get get employee list dot get I dot sorry dot I dot get في عندنا get I here get I dot get ID equals ID. Then what? This dot get employee list dot remove I. And here I can say, okay, if we do this. So what is the if here? صح? Else what?
Keep
What? Else ما هو ما فيش employee عنا. وين رحنا؟ Else here. Else sys out. Okay. Employee ID not found. Request ignored. We can say this time. تمام. يعني here if is employee exists, yes or no, not found. Let us try to go to the test read now. Okay. مين عنا الemployee? Let us delete one employee now here. DM وينه؟ DM dot remove employee كانت صح؟ و999. Do we have someone like this? We don't have one صح؟ Two departments. وين راح هذا؟ ليش شطبوه؟ اوكي ما قالش يبدو الميثود رجعت. في مسج؟ ما في مسج. يبدو في غلط في الميثود. اوكي remove employee ID if employee exists يبدو رجعت true على فكرة هي. if employee exists هاي راح ترجع true. هاي راح هاي العكس احنا عملناها. استنوا شوي. is employee exist exit is equal to false. العكس هاي لازم تكون false وtrue. فهمتوا علي؟ احنا عكسناها هلا صح؟ right then now should be false وهاي true. عكسناها كان بيرجع انسر غلط. هلا عكسناها. المره الاولى كانت صح لانه كنا اوكي employee ID not found request ignored. خلينا نشطب واحد 300 مثلا. اوكي 300 هلا مشطوب هو صح؟ اوه ما عملنا سيف داتا صح؟ دي ام ما عملنا سيف للداتا، خلص هو والفايلز ما تغيروا. سيف اول داتا. هلا هيك اوكي شافوا شطبهم هلا how many employees saved instead of 9 how many employees saved okay if I run it again they will tell you ما في حدا هو 300 does that make sense طبعا same code you can do for the department does that make sense يا شباب good what is who is the employee I don't care أنا who's the employee you can go here in the data manager and say وينه delete employee okay public add department remove employee this employee dot remove and here you can say this out before you remove it this dot get emps list dot get I dot get name okay plus by amigo تمام good so now here just remove this. So now you just print a message let us delete another one 200 عيسى أبو جبل باي باي amigo get a McDonald's job تمام hopefully يا شباب this example يعني we try to tackle and approach many things like handling data hopefully the major idea 2 things I wanted you and I know almost all of you are very good students that isolate the data from the application and remember if you are using object put stream and put stream when you read get all the data in array list add remove manage fight with the array list then you can save data all of them back to the file هلا
دكتور
just a second ها معنا 7 دقائق اوكي وراح ابعث لكم فاتوره للتوتوريال هذا لانه اطول ما توقعت بس انا ام enjoying it تمام هلا اب تيست خليني اسميها هيك اب تيست usually your application اوكي ايش بيقول لي هو مش عاجبه اب تيست ليش في مين اب خلينا نسميه مين اب usually هو ايش بيكون how things definitely you have done يعني main app let's go do something like show menu do for example sys out one معلش خليكم معي add employee طيب sys 2 مش عارف ايش right أو you can make a method simple method أو just here public main app or just call the methods here inside this now main app okay main app equals new main app وبس هلا inside the app you can say while you get input from the user show menu switch add employee read employee add department delete department يعني show menu مش أنا the best one to do it هلا in this last minute I can call a function show menu ماشي الحال show menu طبعا هلا كان هاي public void show menu بس أنا مش راح أصرف وقت كتير عليه مش لأني مش لأني مش عاجبني لا لأنه that will be something like done from Java effects يعني later you will add employee and remove employee and department and this is our next week tutorial ماشي الحال how to do these things, update employee, add employee, show all departments, add a new department. We'll do it from our JavaFX tutorial. So instead of those scanner get input, they still needed, but not يعني هلا they take a long time, but hopefully the concept you know already from C++. ماشي الحال يا شباب. I'll stop recording. ماشي.